On today's episode, I'll be showing you how to sew your own elastic waistband shorts. This time, I have a special treat for you. Usually, I'd have you make your own patterns, but now I finally opened my Etsy shop where I am selling PDF patterns. You can go to the link in the description box down below and it will take you to my Etsy shop. You'll need 1 to 2 yards of non-stretch fabric, matching threads, fabric and paper scissors, an electric cutter if that's your jam, a tape measure, a pin cushion, 1-inch elastic, tailor's chalk, an iron for pressing, a sewing machine and serger if you have one, and a sewing pattern. To get this pattern, you can go to my Etsy shop. The link will be in the description, but if you want to make your own pattern, you could watch the video that pops up in the top right-hand corner. Start by cutting the shorts pieces out of your fabric. There's a PDF attached to your pattern that tells you how to assemble it. Cut 2 pieces for the front, 2 pieces for the back, and 4 pieces for your pockets. On this channel, I teach you how to make your own clothes. So if that sounds good to you, subscribe. On the front and back pieces of my shorts, I'm using my serger to finish the raw edges only at the sides, and for my pockets, I'm finishing the raw edges all the way around. If necessary, give your fabric a nice press after serging. Now we're gonna add the pockets. Before I put my pockets on, I'm giving them a nice press to make them flat. Now, in order to place your pockets, you're going to measure and mark 1 inch from the top of each of your shorts pieces, and you're going to place your pocket here. Pin them right sides together on all 4 pieces of your shorts. So we're going to take this to the sewing machine and we're going to stitch along here with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So these are my 2 front pieces, these are my 2 back pieces. You're gonna turn your pocket away from your shorts like this, and you're gonna take your pin cushion and stick some pins into it right here like this. So we're gonna take these over to the sewing machine and we're gonna stitch on top of the pocket. So your pocket should be looking like this, and if they are, smash that like button. So with my 2 back pieces right sides together and my 2 front pieces right sides together, I'm going to pin along here. I can't wait to see how it turns out because I absolutely love the color yellow. But now we're gonna take it to the sewing machine and you're gonna stitch along here using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm gonna turn my iron on and I'm just gonna give my shorts a nice press at the seam right here. So you'll pull your pieces apart, then you'll flatten the seam and put your iron right there to get it nice and flat. Something that tends to happen whenever I make elastic waistband shorts is that because the waist of it is so big, when it scrunches together, when the elastic goes into it, it actually looks a little bit big around this area. So what I want to do is to introduce a few darts into my shorts. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this towards the seam, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side over here. So they're going to meet right there. I like to just put a pin into my fabric to hold it into place. And I'm going to use my tape measure to measure 1/4 inch from the fold. Bam. Do the same thing over here. Bam. I'm also going to measure from the top of my shorts, coming down here. You're going to measure 3 inches down on both sides. I totally forgot to mention that you're gonna need a ruler, but hey, better late than never. You're going to put it in alignment with this 1/4 inch mark right here, and you're gonna have it come off of the fabric right where you mark that 3-inch mark. So it's gonna be like this, and that's how you're going to taper your dart off. Repeat the same steps on the back of your shorts, except you want to measure 1/2 inch away from the fold and 4 inches away from the top. You're going to stitch your darts, back stitching at the beginning and leaving a long tail of thread at the end so that you can tie a knot to secure them. Here we go. We have darts in our shorts now. I'm going to use my iron to just press them flat so that they look much neater, and I'm pressing them towards my center seam. Our darts look nice. I like my darts. Do you like your darts? Moving right along to this one. Pressing this towards the center. Over there. Bam! Also looking really nice. Now we're gonna stitch this all together. Let's start with the crotch. This is the center back and the center front seam meeting each other, but it's also at the crotch, so I just call it the crotch. You know what I mean? Anyway, putting a pin right here, you are gonna put more pins going out towards the sides. Then you can move on to the sides of your shorts. Make sure that the top of your shorts is in alignment like this, and then you can start putting your pins. You're going to measure from the bottom of your pocket right here upwards by 5 inches and put a mark right there. So this area we're reserving just for the hands. Now let's do the same thing on the other side. We're gonna take this to the sewing machine and we're gonna stitch down, around, and then down again. Then we're gonna take the sewing machine right here and stitch all the way down. Stitch along the inseam with a 1/2 inch seam allowance and finish the raw edges with your serger or zigzag stitches. You could also finish the hem and waist of your shorts. I'm gonna use my iron right now to just press my hem flat. I'm gonna turn it up just by 1/2 inch and I'm gonna press it down. And do the same thing on the other side. When we get to the sewing machine, we're going to be stitching along here, so 1/2 inch away from the edge. This is where you're going to measure your natural waistline. My waist is 26 inches. So I'm going to minus 3 inches from 26. That gives me 23. And I'm going to cut my elastic 23 inches instead of 26. And I am not adding allowance for the stitching that I'm about to do. I'm going to overlap here and stitch along this line. All you're gonna do now is to divide your elastic into quarters. And when I say quarters, I mean 4 pieces. This is how you're gonna do it. You can use the seam as one of your markers, fold it along that seam, and across from the seam, you're gonna put a mark with your tailor's chalk. Then you're gonna make the seam of your elastic and the mark meet together, and on both of these sides you're gonna put a mark as well. 1, 2, 3, 4 marks on the elastic. The waist of the shorts is already divided into quarters, so the front, back, and side seams will be your marks. I'm gonna line up the seam of my elastic with the center back of the shorts. Now I'm gonna take the mark that's opposite to this mark, this one right here, and I'm gonna align it with the center front. And the same thing goes for the sides. Now we can take this to the sewing machine, and when we're stitching, we're actually gonna stretch the elastic so that it will meet the fabric. To take it a step further, you could stitch the bottom edge of your elastic too, but ensure that your fabric at the bottom of the elastic is laying flat. Fold the elastic down and stitch along the bottom edge like this, and watch your waistband come to life. Watch these videos next and subscribe to Sew Quaint. See you next time!